Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Going the Distance. This is episode 46. Can you believe we've done 46 episodes? I can't, but I'm thrilled. And I want to welcome the new members who are just joining us for the first time, and I want to welcome back the members who have been joining me from the beginning. So, we're going to jump into it. We got some football news. We got some NASCAR news. We got some baseball news and predictions. And then we got some music to get into. So let's jump into it. So as we went off the air last week, actually the second we went off the air, I got an alert. I got a story that said the Browns had traded Amari Cooper to the Buffalo Bills. And not only did the Bills get Amari Cooper, but they got a 2025 sixth-round draft pick. And then the Browns got a 2025 third-round pick and a 2026 sixth-round pick from the Bills. So Amari Cooper was actually on the field for the Bills in Sunday's game, and we'll get to that score. I think it's a great trade. I think with Stephon Diggs gone, I think with Kincaid all beat up in Buffalo, Amari Cooper's the way to go. I think it's a great trade. And I think the Bills won in this one. I think the Browns, were ready because you didn't really hear much from Amari Cooper. So I think the Browns did good, or the Bills did good. But I also heard where, and we'll get into this a little bit later, the Browns signed Bailey Zappi as their starting quarterback, and I'll explain why he's he's the backup. I'm sorry, he's the backup. They're actually starting Jameis Winston this week, and I'll get into that here shortly. In fact, I'll get into it right now. During Sunday's loss, the Browns lost. Not only did they lose the game, but they lost Deshaun Watson to an Achilles injury. So he's out for the season. So Bailey Zappi was signed as the backup, and Jameis Winston's going to start for the Browns. Now, yeah, I know Deshaun hadn't been what he was in college in the NFL. But what I thought the Browns fans did when Deshaun got hurt, I didn't agree with. They actually cheered the fact that he got hurt and was out for the season. And I watched the injury. He didn't get hit, but he got ready. He planted his foot, and then his Achilles just snapped, and his leg snapped, and his ankle just snapped back. So we wish Deshaun a speedy recovery, and we look forward next season to seeing you back with the Browns. In a surprising trade, we had the Titans trade DeAndre Hopkins to the Chiefs. Really? Like the Chiefs need any more weapons. They're already 6-0 because of the refs. And now you've got DeAndre Hopkins with you. And, I guess I see where they're coming from, but the Chiefs don't need any more weapons. They've got all the weapons they need. And they're already 6-0 thanks to we established that already. So we'll see how DeAndre Hopkins does. The Saints extended Alvin Kamara for the next 2 years. They gave him a 2-year, $24.5 million deal, which I think is good because we have the trade deadline coming up here pretty soon. So there's going to be a lot of trades go down. And I might not be able to hit them all, but I'll get most of them when the time comes. I'll have that for you. But I think it's great. The Saints now have Alvin Kamara locked down, so nobody else can trade for him. And I really don't think the Saints would want to go after, would want to trade him. So, which is good because I've got Alvin Kamara in my fantasy league, and I need him to do good for me because of another injury that we established went down on Monday. No, I think it was, yeah, Monday night. During the during the Buccaneers Baltimore game, Chris Godwin got hurt, dislocated his ankle, and went in for surgery on that ankle, which means he's out for the season, which means I lost to somebody else in my fantasy. So not only did the Buccaneers lose Chris Godwin for the season, but they lost Mike Evans. I'm sorry, I don't know why I can't get this right. They lost Mike Evans for a couple weeks with a hamstring injury. So, I mean, the Bucs were doing too good. Something had to give, and this is what gave. So we wish Mike Evans and Chris Godwin speedy recoveries. And Chris, we look forward to seeing you back on the field next year. It was reported that Panthers quarterback Andy Dalton was involved in a car accident this week. Now, something doesn't seem right about this because I don't have a lot of information, but I just know he was in a car accident with his wife and children and his dog. And the Panthers medical staff were checking him out, evaluating him, is what they said. But then yesterday it was reported that Bryce Young was going to start this week for the Panthers, and I'll get into some predictions for this next week here in a little bit. But, I mean, it just seems real fishy that Andy Dalton was doing really good and for the Panthers, and now he's in a car accident. Bryce Young's back in. So, excuse me, Andy, we wish you speedy recovery. We wish you back on the field here shortly. In some college football news, the East Carolina Pirates fired their head coach Mike Houston after 5 seasons. Now, in 5 seasons, he took them to one bowl. He took us to one bowl game, and I pull for East Carolina. And honestly, I think this is a good move. He's been there 5 years, and their record this year is 3-4. They started out strong, but they've been blown out 2 weeks in a row. So it's time for him to move on somewhere else. So, I mean, I don't know who East Carolina is going to get, but whoever it is, I hope it's better, and we can get higher, and we can actually get to a bowl game more than just, instead of just keep losing. We're at 3-4. I mean, we don't want to keep losing. So I'll keep you guys updated on who East Carolina picks as their next head coach. And also, it was reported that Southern Miss fired their head coach, Will Hall, after 4 seasons and a 1-6 start. Now, this is more understandable as a 1-6 start, because how are you going to be a professional college coach and go 1-6? This is why nobody really ever looks at Southern Miss, because 1-6, So I'll keep you guys updated on who Southern Miss and East Carolina pick as their next head coaches. So now we're going to move into the NFL Week 7 scores. So we started out Thursday night with the Broncos and the Saints. Now, this was without Derek Carr starting. And if you guys remember, I picked the Broncos to win because Derek was out and so many pieces were missing. Well, the Broncos beat the Saints 33-10 in Sean Payton's return back to New Orleans since he left there 2 years ago. Now, not only was this Sean Payton's return, but it was Drew Brees' night too, because Drew Brees was inducted into the Saints Ring of Honor. So with that Broncos win, that means Sean Payton has beat all 32 teams in the NFL. So we're going to move on to Sunday. And on Sunday morning at 9:30, we had the Jaguars and the Patriots over in London. The Jags defeated the Patriots 32-16 after the Patriots blew a 10-point lead at halftime. The Bills defeated the Titans 34-10. The game of the week that I predicted last week, the Lions actually defeated the Vikings 31-29. So that lived up to its expectation. And that game was scary toward the end. I picked the Lions to win. And yeah, I'm thrilled the Lions won. But they scared me because they had this huge lead. And then they let Minnesota come back on them. And it was 29-28. And then the Lions drive down into field goal range, kick the field goal to make it 31-29. So now there's one undefeated team as of now. And we'll get into that in a minute. The Eagles defeated the Giants 28-3 in Saquon Barkley's return to MetLife Stadium. As everybody who's been following this knows, Saquon is now a wide receiver for the Eagles. He's an ex-Giant, so this was his return back to MetLife, and he showed out for him. The Rams defeated the Raiders 20-15. The Redskins defeated the Panthers 40-7. Bengals defeated the Browns 21-14, and that was the game that I said Deshaun got hurt. So we'll see how the Browns do. They scored 14. They kept up with the Bengals. But we'll see how the Browns do with Jameis Winston under center. In the Sunday night game, the Steelers defeated the Jets 37-15. And then on the first Monday night game, that Sunday night game was Russell's debut with the Steelers, and Russell did absolutely fantastic with the Steelers. So, I mean, Russ might have found his place, even though I hate the team he went to. The Ravens defeated the Buccaneers 41-31, and the Bucs scored 10 of those points on onside kicks at the end of the game, because it was like 41-17 or 41-21, and then the Bucs kicked 2 onside kicks, recover them, and score. So Ravens defeated Bucs 41-31, and then in a surprise, the Cardinals defeated the Chargers 17-15. So how did everybody do this week? How did everybody fare with y'all's picks? And if you're playing fantasy, how did you guys do in y'all's fantasy? Drop it in the comments and let me know. So now we're going to move into Week 8 predictions. And to start out, we start out tonight, 8:15 on Prime Video. It was the Vikings and the Rams. Vikings at the Rams. So I picked the Vikings to bounce back and get their 6th win of the season tonight. And then on Sunday, we have the Eagles-Bengals. I actually have the Bengals winning. Tennessee and Detroit. I have Detroit. Cardinals-Dolphins. I have the Cardinals. Jets-Patriots. I got the Patriots because I just can't pick Aaron Rodgers. Falcons-Bucks. I actually have the Bucks winning that game. Packers-Jags. I have the Packers. Colts-Texans. I have the Texans. Saints-Chargers. I have the Chargers. Bills-Seahawks. I have the Bills. Panthers-Broncos. I have the Broncos. Kansas City and LA. As much as I would like to see Vegas win, I think the Chiefs are going to take that one. We have Ravens-Browns. I have the Ravens. Bears-Redskins. I have the Redskins. And then the Sunday night game, Cowboys-Niners. This is going to be a shock to everybody, but I'm actually picking the Niners over the Cowboys this week. Actually, last week, I forgot to mention this earlier. Last week, during that 49ers game, Deebo Samuel went out of the game. and was actually admitted to the hospital with pneumonia. He's out now, and his status for this week is unknown. And the Niners also lost Brandon Ayuk to a leg injury, so he's out for the season. So in that Cowboys-Niners game, I actually have the Niners winning. And then Monday night, Giants-Steelers, I'm not picking that game. I mean, I think I know who's going to win, but I can't bring myself to say out loud who I think is going to win that game. So you can use your imagination, and then next week I will tell you who I picked, who my thought was in that game, who I thought was going to win. So that's all for the prediction. So now we get to start. And I know I hadn't said much about this, but now we're going to talk a little bit about baseball. And we have the MLB World Series starting this week, actually tomorrow night. And we have the Dodgers against the Yankees. And y'all, this series is going to be a good one. The Dodgers have been good all season. And their series with the Mets was just phenomenal. And I was afraid it was going to be a Yankees-Mets World Series. So it was going to go all New York, everything. But it's Yankees-Dodgers. So the first game is tomorrow night. And it starts at 8 o'clock. And that game is going to be on Fox. The first hit is at 8:08 tomorrow night on Fox, and they start in LA. So let's hope. I've got the Dodgers winning this series because obviously I'm not pulling for the Yankees. I've never liked the Yankees, and to me, the Yankees are like Pittsburgh, the Pittsburgh Steelers. So I say go Dodgers. Now we're going to move into some NASCAR news. We raced in Vegas, and Crybaby Logano won the race. Christopher Bell came in second, Daniel Suarez third, William Byron fifth, and Alex Bowman fourth. Kyle Larson finished 11th, and Chase Elliott finished 33rd. Now, the reason Chase finished 33rd is because he was involved in an accident. And this puts him in a must-win this week. Either a must-win or having a really good, because we move into Watkins Glen this next week, and he's at the very bottom. So he needs to have a good run this weekend to get out of the red, get into the green, because my pick to win the championship this year is either Chase Elliott or Kyle Larson. And as it looks right now, Kyle Larson's going to take this championship. Even though they've tried every season for the past, I'd say 5 or 6 seasons, to give Denny Hamlin the championship. So next week, this coming Sunday, we race in Watkins Glen, and I will be back next week with some with the results for that. So now we're going to move into the who are we listening to segment. Who we're listening to. And who are we listening to this week? It's Puddle of Mudd. Their style is a hard rock style. They formed in 1992 in Kansas City, Missouri, and their big break didn't come until 2001, which is when I found out about them, with their debut album, Come Clean. And I actually own that album, and it is a really good album because it's a debut, and the debuts are always good. They've had 6 studio albums, 21 singles, 15 music videos, 1 compilation album, no live albums, and actually my favorite CD from them is the debut, Come Clean. I think all of them are really good. They've got a really good, like, nostalgic early 2000s rock scene sound to them. And something interesting about this band is they toured with Three Doors Down and Nickelback when I saw Three Doors Down live and Nickelback live for the first time. But after that concert, they switched around with their drummers. So after that tour, Nickelback's drummer left the band. Daniel Adair left Three Doors Down and moved to Nickelback. And then Greg Upchurch from Puddle of Mud left Puddle of Mud and went to Three Doors Down. So Puddle of Mud got a brand new drummer at that time. Now, is he still with them? I don't know. But because the only thing I hear about Puddle of Mud now is, yeah, they released new stuff, but Wes Scanlon, the lead singer, has, gotten into legal trouble and has problems with drugs and alcohol. So I'm always hearing about him getting arrested and going to jail, spending the night in jail, that type of stuff. So what song are we listening to this week? I want you guys to listen to the song Blurry and the song Drift and Die. Those are two of my favorites from Puddle of Mud. And I think you guys are really going to enjoy those songs. If you like rock music, if you like that 2000s sound and rock, you're going to love these songs. So I just want to know who are you guys listening to? What songs are y'all listening to? Have you guys heard the new Breaking Benjamin out single? I have, and I think it is a fantastic single. It sounds just like old Breaking Benjamin, but I want to know y'all's thoughts. So if y'all drop it in the comments, I'd also appreciate it if you guys hit a thumbs up on this video, subscribe to my channel, and shared this video so we can grow this community, because it's not just for me, it's for y'all. So this is our show. So who are you guys listening to? What are you guys' thoughts on the show today? Who are y'all's football teams, and what sports do y'all like? So just drop in the comments. What are y'all's predictions for the next week for football? But that's about all I have for this week. I hope everybody has a wonderful weekend, has a safe weekend, and I will be back next week with some sports and music news. God bless y'all.